Hello, everyone. Kyra Schaefer here.
Todd Schaefer here.
There he is. Hope you're doing great today. Feeling really good. We have our special guest. We have our special guest behind the scenes right now in the green room. Joe McMonagle. I'm going to tell you a bit about him as we get started. So Joe McMonagle is a devoted spirit healer, guiding individuals along their journey, their life journey, in pursuit of healing, connection to their divine essence, and discovery of their purpose. With a diverse educational background, Joe holds a Bachelor of Architectural Engineering, a Master of Divinity, and a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology. He is also an author, contributing a chapter to the collaboration book, Awaken Your Magic. Yeah, real life manifestation journeys. His professional journey spans 12 years as a religious seminarian, priest, and 26 years in the software industry. Alongside his career, Joe remains steadfast in his commitment to spiritual growth, exploring belief systems and healing practices, and studying under various esteemed teachers. You can contact Joe through his website, joemcmonagleHSP.com. And you should be able to see his name in just a moment, where you can discover more about his offerings. So without further ado, want to introduce you to Joe McMonagle. Hi.
Hey, how are you two doing?
Doing great. We are so excited to have you on our Wisdom and Words series here, our authors. Yes.
It's great to be here. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So if you guys are seeing us or watching us out there, please say hi in a comment and let us know you're watching us and seeing us. That would be awesome. Joe, you are publishing a book.
Yes.
And it is very, very exciting. So not only did you do Awaken Your Magic, but you are also doing your own book. And it is so awesome, guys. I just cannot wait to get to share it with everybody and put it out there and get it in front of folks. So it's very exciting. So I think, what kind of questions, how do we want to start this thing here, Todd?
Well, I think it would be appropriate to ask him about the book that he's writing or written and we're publishing for him.
That would probably be a good idea. a little about the story. So this is about a boy named Tom McCurden, and he's this sweet and sensitive boy, kind of misunderstood, short for his age, and intelligent, which leads to a lot of mocking on the other kids' behalf. So he kind of spends a lot of time by himself, as well as helping his father out at his pottery and his mother, who was a part-time healer. Now, what is really unique about him is that he has very, very unique gifts. He is gifted with healing abilities, and not just physical healing, but also spirit healing, impacting the very soul. So he's living a pretty ordinary life until he happens to be caught by the attention of this merchant who is, let's just say, greedy and not a nice person, who also has his gifts. And he is determined to basically manipulate Tom and his family to enable him to have Tom's gifts for his own needs and his own benefits. So, but all is not terrible. At the time this happens, his mother and he are being taught by a healer, and the healer has his own gifts and is aware of it. And he basically takes Tom away to safety. But this is where it gets even more interesting, because he begins a journey that leads to self-discovery, figuring out what the heck these gifts are, what he's supposed to do with them, his purpose, and realizes that they impact his idea of God and afterlife and just who you are as a person and how you relate to others. So it's a very much an internal struggle, in part but there's also many dangers that he faces along the way, other greedy people, some other things that threaten his life. In the end, well, I won't tell you the end, of course, but it's a journey of self-discovery and becoming the best that Tom can become. So it's really an opening for him. He discovers things about himself and the world that he never thought possible. So that's
it's so good. You've got AJ coming in here.
Oh, cool.
AJ, hi Joe. So excited for your book. Congrats.
Thank you, AJ.
Yeah, it's I'm just gonna kind of just say some of the things. So I've been reading, and I'm lucky enough because I get to publish. We get to publish your book, so I get to have some really good sneak peek first looks kind of thing. Very, very good. And so I am not reading this from the place of I'm enjoying a fantasy novel, and it's interesting and it's fascinating, and there is quite a journey. It is an epic journey for sure. And I'm not even looking at it from that point of view, although that is true too. From my point of view, having been a Reiki healer, for 25 years, who I used to read tarot, to being a Qigong person, a martial arts student, to, all that. I'm looking at it not just through the lens of being someone who's entertained by reading, but somebody who's also officially getting a download while I'm reading. And it's absolutely phenomenal. I cannot say that I have had this experience with a book. Gosh, I don't think I've ever had this kind of experience with a fiction novel. I don't think so. And it does, every person that goes on this kind of quest for spiritual understanding and spiritual development and discovering who we truly are underneath, this kind of typical reality. I found that we ask these questions that Tom is asking in the beginning, basically in the beginning. And it's like, what is wrong with me? What is going on? Why am I seeing this? Why am I feeling this? Oh, and I love, there's one line in particular that I just love. And that is, your spirit guides are watching you. The angels are watching you. Everybody's, and Tom's like, that's creepy.
Yep.
I was like, yes, that's exactly what I thought to myself.
I don't want people
Where
looking
are
at
you?
me every moment. Yeah.
So it's just, I love it. I'm just so excited that you chose us to get to do this with, because it is quite an undertaking, quite a journey to, one, have the courage to say, yeah, I'm gonna put out a book. Not just that, but to put out an epic novel of this magnitude is incredible.
Yeah, and it is a little bit of an epic because of its length. It could have been a lot longer, but it felt right when I ended it, and it's like, okay, this makes sense. But you're right about the thing. So many people these days are asking, why am I here? And what am I supposed to be doing here? And am I in the right job? And why am I not feeling happy? And should I quit my job? And all those kind of questions that I have experienced a lot over my life. And now that I'm retired or pseudo-retired, since I'm now an author, those questions still evolve. It's like, what's going to be around the corner? So I just love the idea of putting those questions in a fantasy novel where people can just enjoy the journey. And then as Tom faces or deals with those questions, an opportunity or an invitation to other people to think about that in their own life.
Absolutely. Todd?
I couldn't agree more. I haven't gotten into it, the manuscript, as much as Kyra has, but from what I have seen, what she has told me, and how Joe has talked about it through emails and even now, it's easy to see that the book is really chock full of wisdom and personal growth experiences and whatnot, which to me is a little bit more, I don't want to say practical, but it's more enticing for me, because there's some truth in it, and there's some value in it. I mean, I love fantasy stuff that's just fantasy and it means nothing else. But I also like it when there's a spiritual component involved to it also. And the fact that you are doing that, have done that in your writing is really, really cool. Just the way you talked about it right now, when you introduced it, shows that you're resonating with a lot of people who are reconsidering some of their choices right now, especially post 2020. I mean, it's a great time to be reconsidering things. So I just love that it has what I consider to be like a deep dive into oneself, told in a story. And what I love about it, I mean, one of the many things is that it just helps people to kind of reevaluate life choices in a way, or just reconsider things, even though things may have shifted from where you last left them. And reading a book like that really gets into the imagination. It's a wonderful analytical vehicle, as so to speak, for distraction and enjoyable, and also helps people to go inward and to consider themselves. So all of those things, I really love that tapestry that you've woven, and I can see that it's there by how you talk about it and how you have spoken about it.
You said something that was really telling. You said, and what I interpreted out of it was, you can actually enjoy going inward. A lot of people dread going inward. Like, I don't want to deal with all that muck that's inside.
Right.
I know of some members, some friends I have that are that very way, but this gives you an opportunity to enjoy it. It doesn't have to be hard. I mean, there might be hard pieces, but it can also be a release and experience a joy in a different way than they ever experienced before, because they're simply going in and saying, does this make sense, what I'm doing? Why am I still here? And yeah, so that was a big part of it for me as I was writing it.
Yeah, that's a great way to distill it. It makes it easier. It's like having a chocolate coating on a pill that you have to take. It's to hear it being told in a story. So it makes going inward a little bit easier because it's told through this really beautiful story.
Yeah, and I love Tom. I mean, Tom is just like the sweetest little human. And I've had this curiosity, like, do you know about pottery and how to create pottery and how to make clay? Because you are, the way you speak about it, I'm like, he knows how to do this.
Well, I have taken a pottery class, just a basic one. I have a few objects that are less than perfect, but I did a lot of research. I did a lot of research about what kind of clay is needed and how much time is needed to allow it to sit after you mix it. And I did this in various elements throughout the book. And I'm surprised, but I actually had a blast even researching what do I, even herbs. I had to research, what herbs can be do. I have friends who are herbalists, and I was like, do you have a book that I can read about what herbs do what and how I can use it? So early in the story, I refer to an herb that I won't say more about, but that's in truth what happens with that herb. So yes, researching was just so fun to do.
Yeah, I like murder mysteries, and I'm always too afraid to go and research because I'm afraid that people are going to be like, "Are you okay?" But yeah, I love it. You know what it kind of reminds me of, like kind of the Lord of the Rings type of epic thing where they go, Tolkien goes in depth in certain elements, and certain ways of doing things that are kind of, just with that world and how things work and all that kind of stuff. And you are a fantastic world creator, which I think is also not an easy thing to do with fantasy. So, just really getting like all these different elements and different places and spaces, and how everything kind of works together it's very good. And so so one thing is for sure, I definitely want you back once the book is out, so we can interview you again to see how that feels. But I am curious, the publishing process so far for you, like trying to figure out, okay, well, do I want to actually put this book out? Was there ever a question like, oh, I'm definitely putting it out, or, no, I don't know if it's time, or, that kind of thing? What was your kind of thought process there?
That's an interesting thing. So, given that I was a priest and in the religious life for a while, spirituality has always been a very important part of my life. And I had an experience in grad school that turned my idea of God away from a judge to one that's loving and kind and compassionate. And I felt so called to share that. And that's what I ended up becoming a priest. Well, when I left the priesthood, it's like, I still want to share this. What do I do? And here I am working in the software industry. And it's like, how do I can't bring up spirituality and God in the workplace. It's just not allowed. So right. I thought there's got to be a self-help book. I knew there was a self-help book in me. And I kept thinking, well, how is this going to come out? When will I have time to do it with full-time job? And, most of my evenings or weekends were recovering from the full-time job,
yes.
Which I'm sure a lot of people know. But then I attended a workshop that I believe Liz Dawn, Celebrate Your Life, sponsored. And I think it was about purpose or path or whatever. And in one small group, a woman said, you know what I want to do? I want to write a book for kids around spirituality. And I felt like a light bulb. I was knocked over by a feather, ultimately, thinking, I don't have to write a self-help book. What if I write a fantasy? Because I love fantasies. I've been reading fantasies for more than half my life. And I thought I could present my thoughts within the context of a fantasy. And so towards the latter part of 2021, I started writing vignettes. And I just thought, write whatever you want. Just don't worry about flow, chronology, or whatever. Just write whatever you want. And I did. And at a certain point, I had like 40 vignettes. And then it's like, okay, I got to tie these things together somehow. And so that took a lot of effort because as some of you may know, you may repeat something. Oh, I'm putting this vignette here, and I have another one that says this there, and this can't happen before this. So piecing those together took a lot of effort. I'm still glad that I did it the way I did it, because it wasn't a task to be done, another kind of homework thing. It was something I enjoyed. It was something I actually had a blast writing the whole thing. Editing, I had less of a blast from. But I had a blast. So that's kind of how it evolved. Oh, and then, I was originally intending one book, and I had all these vignettes that was like, well, where is this going to go? And so I was like, you don't have to stop at one book. And then within 2 weeks, I had ideas for 5 books.
Wow.
Yeah. So, which means my life is going to be full for the rest of my life.
30, 40, 50.
40, exactly.
It'll be your legacy. I love it.
What's most important is, for me, is not that I'm a published author, but that the message gets out there. The message that people are really beautiful, innately good people. Some of them might have forgotten that. And maybe they can remember that and discover their purpose, change their ways, perhaps. But I didn't want to hammer it over people's head. I wanted just to be kind of an invitation. So that's what I see as a legacy is the message, having it reach people's hearts.
And I feel like you are certainly doing that. You are certainly doing that. Your book does do that. What other questions do we have for?
Well, about the writing, how did it come to be? Did we talk about that?
I think we talked about that.
I covered that a little bit. I kind of mushed things together.
Yeah.
Okay. What didn't we talk about?
What did we do? I mean, this was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he touched on a few different things.
I know. It's good. So good. Let's talk about the title of your book.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that was finding a title. That title went through so many iterations. At one point, it was called Into the Darkness. And the friend of mine, who the artist who painted the cover, that was what it was. And when I sent it off to him and said, "Could you read this? And what do you think?" And it just never set right for me. And the message I kept getting from my guides and God were, you'll know when the message comes through. You'll know when you get the right title. And thanks to you, Chat GPT was a very much of a help. Because I threw in chapters and I said, "So what would you give the title?" And ultimately they came up with a gajillion titles. And I thought, well, shadows and light makes sense because there are shadows in this story, but Tom is a being of light. And so the both meld with who he is and ultimately with everybody's life. We all have shadows and we also have light. So, and then the subtitle was that, well, I don't want to give it away, but it reflects Tom's journey.
Awesome. It is, and it's clear. You know, it's really clear. Let's see. So now, did you have a guest that you wanted to bring on?
I do. Let me call him in a minute.
Okay.
You touched on most of these questions already.
You did. Joe is so efficient. You ask him one question and every question gets answered. I love it.
Well, I jumped the gun a little bit.
You're so good. No, you're so good.
This is my husband, Michael. Very, very much part of this book process. He edited the book a few times, including
Good job, Michael.
Yeah. Get in there and edit that book right now. And okay.
Yes, I cowered. Oh.
No, as you know, Joe is very kind and has a lot of gratitude to everything that I can do for this book.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal job, Michael. That is not an easy undertaking for sure.
Yeah.
No. He would even ask, like, now, did you really intend this word here? And it's like, read the context. Oh no, that wasn't what I wanted to say. Or yes, that was the right word.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would pick out everything and happily let me know, which I actually appreciated. I mean, it helps, that I was a technical writer for 20 some years, and you have to let go of ownership of the writing to be willing to take edits and comments from other people, because the whole goal was to make the book better, or in the case of technical writing, the manual better, to help people who are reading it. The same is true with the novel. It's like it's gotta make sense. It's gotta flow, and so having editors and having the alpha readers, is that what they're called, or beta readers?
Beta readers.
Beta readers. Yeah.
I had a few of those, and they provided me with comments, and they were very, very helpful. And my soul coach, he was the one that taught me most specifically the phrase "show not tell."
Yeah,
I did not know anything about that at all. So it took a heck of a lot longer getting this book out, because I had to go through all of the 300 pages. Like, oh yeah, show not tell. I mean, I literally had SNT throughout the entire book to remind me to make sure that's part of it. And I have that same thing as I'm in the midst of writing book 2.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's see. AJ Ray has got a question for you. Any advice for a new writer looking to publish, Joe?
That's a good question. Most basic, don't make it into a task. You got to enjoy what you're doing, because if you feel like you have to get it done or get through X number of chapters, it will become a weight and you will stop enjoying it, and then you might as well not write the book in the first place. You have to be able to love what you're doing, because that is what drives you on to continue writing.
Michael, what advice do you give the spouses, the partners
That's a great question.
out there that have these dreams of publishing their book? Any thoughts for for the support team out
Mhm.
there? I love that reflective pause.
What I was going to say, I know a published author, and Joe knows her too.
Yes.
And I just said to him one day, because he was sort of like, oh, how do I do it? He was sort of, all over the, and I said, would you consider talking to Catherine and just see what she has to say? And Catherine's a talker. And, but she brought up so much information that Joe hadn't even thought about. And it turned out that it was very helpful. I just said, and Joe, she's a talker. So, just surrender.
Let go.
He was
Just
my
absorb.
muse. I mean, I know without a doubt that God and my guides were speaking to you, because you not only did that, because that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
But he was also saying, well, what about asking John Connors, our friend who did the artwork? What about, he's willing to do this for you if you want. He's happy to do it. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to put him out. And then finally, with another nudge from him, it's like, okay. And that's why I sent him off the book. And he actually came through. He came up with upwards of 8 various paintings that he did.
Yeah.
And
I said, John doesn't care. He enjoys this.
Yeah.
Let him, just tell him what you want and he'll make it.
And what's very telling is he painted the one I love. I thought, well, John, where is this in the book? And he said, oh, I didn't do that. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to write a vignette so that it's in the book. And that's exactly what I did. And
I think I read that vignette earlier today.
You did. Yeah. I'm sure you did. So that was fun. So yeah, I couldn't have done this without him.
It's a journey. It's just writing the book is a journey, and just finding your way, and eventually he got to As You Wish publishing, and that was the right fit for him, and it made sense. And it's just, I mean, you don't know. You pray for answers. You talk to other people, and you just want to be as encouraging as you can. And he loves writing. And there's a lot of stuff that is not as enjoyable, like editing. But I think the first one must be overwhelming, because you're coming in from nothing and you're trying to just figure it out. So anytime you can find just helpful people along the way, I think that goes for whatever you're doing. It's just it can be overwhelming and scary. And so, but I'm here. So
you're here.
And you guys, you guys too, because again, I felt God and guides were working through Liz, because she was the one that set up the post about the Awaken Your Magic availability. I did not realize when I was tuning in that this was about writing a chapter in a book. I thought, oh, maybe this will help me with what I'm writing my book. And I thought it might help. I was even debating, should I even go? And then lo and behold, I went and I discovered you guys and contributed a chapter to the Awaken Your Magic book, and thus creating this relationship with you guys. So again, trusting that God or guides or source will get to you in whatever way you need to know it, because if you're not getting it in one way, you're going to get it another way. So, and I thank you guys for helping me on this journey big time.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely been a pleasure. Like even today, guys, like we were, the Library of Congress was closed today. I don't know why.
Go figure. Holiday.
Something's going on. I don't know. And I was like, why aren't they getting back to me? I need Joe's Library of Congress number, And I was like, and then I realized it was a holiday, and I emailed Joe and I said, hey, I'm not sure what's going on. You know, I think it's a holiday. I hope they'll get it back to me. And he goes, it's fine. My guides have already said that it's on its own time now. Everything is done. Like, and I was like, I love working with spiritual people. I love it. Like it's not that it's no pressure or anything like that, but it's just an understanding at certain points where it's like, this is kind of out of my hands right now, you know, or I'm going to allow it to come into, you know, fruition exactly the way it's supposed to. I'm going to allow the next person to come into my life to show me the next thing and the next step I'm supposed to take. Like, after you're done with us, with this book anyway, then your next step is going to be with bookstores and getting your book out there. And I told him, I said, he's going to have to bulk up getting his books, taking them to book signings and stuff, because it's epic.
That's still a bit intimidating, I have to admit, about nerves around, you know, virtually knocking on a bookstore's door and saying, you want to read my book? Here's one for free. So, you know, being a strong introvert, I mean, stepping out of my comfort zone takes some effort, definitely takes some effort. So, and I appreciate you guys' support, and my guides, they keep telling me we're with you, and they remind me one step at a time. And honestly, this interview is one of those steps. It's putting myself out there. And so even before the session, I, you know, spent time in meditation and had a conversation, and one of my guides saying, remember, you can be silly. You don't have to do this seriously, and you can laugh and say, you know, that. So anyway, but it'll happen. I know it will happen, and I have support, and having you guys support means everything. Absolutely.
Yeah. Everything. And you are so easy to love, Michael. You are so easy to love. Like, if you need anything, you just call. You call Auntie Kyra and Uncle Todd. We help.
Okay. If I'm being a pain in the butt, so to speak, he's like, oh, call it.
Not at all. I have not. I haven't experienced that. So, you know, and if that ever did happen, I would know that it was just coming from doing something brand new, and doing brand new things can be really scary. And this is a big thing, you know, an important thing, I think, because the book has these really profound themes in them. And I think it's important. AJ says, great advice. Found those to help you along the way. Yes. You definitely need to rely on other people. It's not an individual. I mean, if you want to share this with other people, ultimately, as you know, delivering a book, you need to involve other people in that process, even if it's just support. Or, you know, I remember talking to one person who read the book, and they said, oh, I don't quite get that. And it's like, oh, well, let me see if I can figure out another way. And I was like, you know, I don't really get it either. So let me explore that in the book. And so it's just other people have contributed, you know, to the content, directly and indirectly. And that makes it, I mean, you saw my acknowledgments at the end, and all those people in their own way contributed big time to the book. And one of them, Kate, she was one of my employees when I was in technical writing, and she was an editor, and she edited me. Her acronym from our department was Eagle Eye Kate, because she picked up everything. And so, and she, when she first read through it, she said, Joe, I can tell that you're a technical writer. And it's like, oh, so that made me having to go back to the beginning and reorganize and rethink how I was describing things. Because normally a tech writer goes, step one, do this, then click that, then do that. And it's like, you don't have to write, you don't write that way in a fiction book. So, so absolutely relying on the wisdom and knowledge of other people was key. It's so true. It's so true. So I am absolutely over the moon excited, and I'm thrilled that you chose us to do this journey with you. I mean, it's so we're so lucky because the people that do work with us, usually they've come through the way that you did. They have done a collaboration book with us first, and then they go, oh, that wasn't that bad, or that wasn't that scary, or I am a writer. Weird, and that to me, I think, is such a cool way to be introduced, because we have one open now called Guided by Spirit at As You Wish, AsYouWishPublishing.com.
I'm getting some flashes.
It's doing some crazy. That means something. What does that
Okay,
mean?
God, what do you want? Something is coming through.
Okay, Guided by Spirit.
Well,
if you're seeing this,
I have a draft of the chapter for the book ready. I'm giving myself time to mull and sit with it. But yeah. So that was a fun chapter to write as well. So
it's so interesting. So people kind of have the stepping stone to say, okay, I can build some confidence around potentially doing my own book, or they just go, you know what, I'm going to be with As You Wish Publishing and be a serial contributor to collaborations, because we've had people that have been in 15 collaboration books,
wow.
and they just do the next one and the next one. It's like Lay's potato chips. You can't eat just one. And then they get comfortable and they learn, they develop their skills, and I have no secrets. If somebody says, well, how does that work? I'm be like, well, here's how it works. We have our As You Write community as well. Who's seeing this video out there, so that, if you have questions about indie publishing, self-publishing, or even traditional publishing, we can kind of help along the way.
And we've got a bunch of great posts about all these topics on our website, on our blog too. That we've done in the past, and we continue to do, answering a lot of these questions.
Yeah, it's so fun to just kind of open up this aspect for people, so that they can have that kind of, build that faith in themselves to be able to move forward. And so we've gotten so many people that way that go, I'm ready to do more, and I want to get my voice out. And so, but our main focus in the past has been self-help nonfiction. So you coming and this, it reinvigorated me in a way, so like, you're not living this little vacuum where only you are, transforming your own experience of things. You're transforming everybody else that's also touching this book along the way. So
thank you.
I'm going to acknowledge that as well.
Yeah, I have to mention, the publishing process can be so overwhelming. I mean, when I was getting to a point where I thought the book was ready, like, well, where do I go? And I got worried. It's like, well, I have to create I don't even remember the terminology, the whatever to send off to
query letter.
That's it. And it's like, how do you do a query? And I was watching video after video of queries, and like, my brain's going to explode of trying to absorb all this stuff. And then, again, it was a gift to stumble upon you guys. And it's like, I don't have to worry about all of that stuff. You guys spell it all out. And this is where I love you. You have inner technical writers yourself, because you spell out the directions so clear. Okay, Todd, you spell out the collection. I can't even say it. The steps. The questions, the steps so clearly. It's like, okay, now you do this, and before you do this, and you have to wait for that, and this is how long it's going to take. I mean, that's how I would have written as a technical writer. And it's like,
that's a
compliment.
So it really helped me, because it's like, okay, they really know what they're doing. They know how to communicate what they're doing and what we need to do and when we need to do it. So it took so much of the angst away from it. I mean, not all the angst is gone, I have to tell you, but it
Wow.
certainly lowered it to a much more manageable level.
I think for him, it gives deeper meaning to the name of the company, As You Wish, because he's, he comes into it overwhelmed and here. Oh, that's what it's that simple. Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna take just this video. This is gonna be the only testimonial video we'll ever need. Because it's like that's what we really wanted to do.
And it simplifies it, and it becomes demystified of this is horrible, I can't do it, to I can do this, and then I'll do this.
We had a similar reaction as a couple when we tried to do a renovation of our condo, and we started to try to do it ourselves, and investigating all the various things, and we were ready to rip each other's hearts out. We were at each other's throats. This is not going to work. And someone turned us on to a designer, and suddenly it was like, okay, we're going to go to this store, and you can choose this. And it's like, and we're going to go to that store, and I'll tell you what you need to do. And it's like, oh my God! Suddenly the level.
And she even said, we're going to choose this thing first, and then we're going to choose that one. And thank God, because I would go into stores and I wanted to just lay down and cry and
I would do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I could have had the same thing. I mean, even as I was struggling with traditional publishing versus self-publishing, I read horror stories of if book one doesn't make it, then they own the rest of the story. So I could not write book 2 through 5. And it's like, there's no way I want that to happen. I don't want them to control whether this gets out. And so then, finding, I'll let self-help company do it. I was thinking I just had to post it to Amazon and do it all myself. So again, thanks to Liz Dawn and you guys for saying, no, we can do it. We can help you.
Right.
And that, that just lowers the heart rate, makes it a little bit slower. So I thank you both.
You're very welcome. It's been our pleasure. I mean, it's been our pleasure.
Yeah,
you commented the other day, who was like,
so Joe's so easy to work with. You know, he's thinking ahead, he's asking questions, and it just makes my job easier.
Yeah, it's amazing. Very good.
He brings no drama to the table.
That's right.
He's
no
like,
drama.
What can I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, I like things to be clear as much as possible. Sometimes I go a little bit too far, I think. I know I did in my technical writing career. My boss was like, you don't need to ask that. That's 3 months down the line. Just stick up with what's going on, which is a good thing to learn, even with respect to writing, because it's, okay, what is the next thing that I have to do? I don't have to worry about everything else. So, like the next thing was coming to this interview. And then what's next? I'll deal with that when it comes. And again, not my timing. I don't have to force it to come out. When it comes out, when it comes out is meant to be. So
it's great. Gosh, okay. How do people get in touch with you if they want your services?
Well, the best way is actually through my website, joemcmonaglehsp.com. And there's a menu for contacting me. They can also email me directly, but through jmcmonaglehsp@gmail.com. But I prefer going through my website just because I can track people a little bit better. And so that's how they can reach me. And
that's where they'll be able to find your book when it's available, and we'll also have it up on Amazon. We'll have it up on Barnes and Noble. Yeah,
absolutely. I have the link to the Awaken Your Magic in my publication page, and then I also have quite a few blogs that also reflect my beliefs and about people and healing their own brokenness and how to show up in the world. I started the blog back in 2021. And so I have and I publish a blog basically once a month. So that's another way. if people want to find out about me and my journey, actually, from graduate student in architectural engineering to author, is described on my website as well. So if you're interested in finding how the heck did he get to where he is? Well, what's this about? All his various degrees and things. And of course, they can read about that very path in Awaken Your Magic, real life manifestation stories or journeys. So journeys, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you have anything you wanted?
I really admire, Joe, how you make suggestions about things for people to think about and consider, very casually and maybe even playfully, and you just don't hit people over the head like I have a history of doing. And you invite people so gently to go inward, and it's chock full of your wisdom, and I hope to become more like you as I do more writing.
What you? I mean, I appreciate that, but I meant the whole point is for you to become fully yourself, who you really are in your core, just as I am me and Michael as well. We all have our own paths, and what that looks like and how that feels will differ for each person, and even their faith. I mean, that's one of the things. I grew up Catholic, and that religion was very, very important to me. And I ultimately, obviously, became a priest, and so it was important enough for me to in that capacity. But at a certain point, I realized it didn't quite work anymore the way it used to, and I knew I had to in order to be true to myself, I had to step away from that life to get to follow what I needed to do. And believe me, leaving the community was one of the hardest things that I did, because I broke a promise to them. I had made a commitment to the community for life to be a part of it, and I had to break that in order for me to leave and continue as I am. And they gave me my life. They paid for therapy, which enabled me to come out as gay. I mean, had that not happened, I would not be where I am today. So each person's path is unique. And that's the other thing is, people can jump around from job to job. None of that is a waste. All of that can be a source of learning and wisdom that takes you to the next thing and even helps you discover, well, this is what I like to do. This is where I get jazzed. It's like, yeah, follow that. So it's been an interesting journey so far in my life, but very well worth it.
Unfortunately, all of those insightful comments make me even want to be more like you. So no. Stop. No, I'm just
it's all right.
No, that's wonderful comments. I really appreciate that. One of the things I want to do better as I become the best version of myself, I look for what I shift and change and from book to book, and how I kind of grow from book to book, and how I express and share things, because I'm a different person, and I'm usually pretty pragmatic when I'm writing things down, and I just try to be more of the best that I can be. It's like, how do I leverage my strengths more, and how can I strengthen this area? I see
this area.
No, I'm not pointing to her.
He's not, but he does strengthen me, though.
I'm not referring to Kyra. This part of my writing is a little bit weaker. How can I develop that more? Things like that. So you just kind of see trends, because the books are kind of like milestones of what took place in between, like how much you grew in between each book in a way too. So that's kind of fun. It's almost like a big public journal in a way,
or time capsule.
A time capsule, yeah, for reading between the lines and seeing how I can shift and grow more. So I love all your comments, and I'm excited for my own journey in that way, for sure.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. It is interesting to see how you've changed, how what you wrote and how you wrote in the first book differs from how you were approaching it in the second one. And I think it's important to tell myself as well, is I get to, they say book 3 or 4, not to judge harshly for, oh, I can't believe you did that in book 1. Why didn't you know that? It's like, because I didn't know it, and I had to grow, and that's just part of the process.
Yeah, I think this just this video here is like a little mini masterclass for authors who are in the process of taking these big steps for themselves and saying yes to themselves, and and kind of how it feels throughout the journey. And so I thank you for being real and upfront and vulnerable and honest about how you kind of moved through it. And thank you, Michael, for filling in some more of those spaces too, that and for helping be supportive to him along the way as well with copy editing and stuff. That is no small task. So
not at all.
That's big support. That's what he does for me. Because
we all wear many hats, and but the big hat is to support Joe, and as he does with me. So
good.
It's a nice
what is your career? Did you have kind of that same kind of wandering thing? Did you? Yeah.
And I visualize a lot. I visualize Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate dating.
Will you visualize me? You mean you visualized him into manifestation? That's what you mean.
Gotcha.
I'm attracting the perfect man, and the perfect man is being attracted to me. Yes. And I am being drawn to the perfect job for me, and I found it, and I liked the guy, and he liked me.
And your boss, right?
Yeah, my boss.
Right.
And that was my last job, and I knew it was going to be my last job. I worked with him for 23 years. I was gonna retire at the age of 70, and then he said, "Could you please work one more year?" And at the same time, COVID happened, and I thought, Joe and I are not going to have any adventures with COVID. So work another year. I like the work. I get very well paid, and it's easy, and I do the work very well. So
he worked as a case manager for a mediation lawyer.
Oh wow!
And he is so good on the phone. He just loves talking to people. Me talking on the phone is like, okay, bye. It's very brief.
He did very big cases. His biggest case was the property damages that happened at the World Trade Center on 9/11.
My gosh.
And he went to New York for a couple of years, and he would stay there for X amount of months. And he said the best law firms of New York City were in the room, and he settled it. So it was anyway, but famous people were in our office, and just very large cases. And I don't know, it was good. It was. I finally fit. I found a very good fit for what I do.
Yeah.
And dealing with people. So
finding a job that you can do,
and that paid well.
And that paid,
that helps.
That was helpful.
Very helpful. That's why the writing didn't really begin until I retired, because I didn't have any time, because I was like, I need to focus on saving my nest egg for retirement so I can do this. So, but like I said, you end up going different pathways, and you get there eventually. And
But seriously, what I had meant to say was, Michael, will you visualize for me?
Sure. And what do you want him to visualize for you about?
I want this business to expand, to grow, and get more beautiful authors, more spiritual, beautiful, amazing authors like Joe, who have amazing partners like Michael.
Sure.
I think that's good.
That's great.
You deserve that and more.
Yes. The amount of love, the amount of love that you put into this, it's so clear from all of the posts that you both put up there. I mean, the encouragement around, oh, today we're going to write about this, and or look at this, and how will you comment about that? And it's just, it's so clear that you are passionate. You are in your calling, as I call it. You are really following your calling. And I would just say, continue what you're doing. You're doing what you need to be doing. You're doing what you love to do, and it's going to blossom. I can't see that otherwise. It wouldn't happen otherwise. So you'll get it. It'll be there.
Thank you, Joe. I love you guys.
Very supportive.
Yeah. Will you come back and interview with us again when your book is out?
You mean Michael? No, yeah.
Yeah. No, both of you. Or yes.
No, of course. I'm just being silly. Yes, I would be happy to do that.
Perfect. I can't wait. All right. So Joe's book is going to be coming out soon, Shadows and Light, and we're going to, be really putting it out there soon. But it's going to be a little while longer till I get my ding dong Library of Congress number.
Okay, it's okay. It'll come out when it needs to come out.
That's right. So guys, definitely stay tuned for that. It's going to be great. If you want to start the process of publishing with us at As You Wish Publishing, go to asyouwishpublishing.com/collaboration. It will be a masterclass in learning how to indie publish with someone that is going to be your guide all along the way and is not going to let you fail and is going to lift you up and love you through it. That's us. It's me and him.
That's us.
And if you want to reach out to Joe, check out Joe at joemcmonaglehsp.com. And we're going to have announcements about his book. And if you have any questions or you need anything, please don't hesitate to contact us at connect at asyouwishpublishing.com.
Right.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you again to both of you. It's been amazing.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.